We got Don Hayduck here from the health department, and he's going to answer some questions about the COVID vaccine that we have coming up. And I think a couple of questions about COVID in general. Last question. So before I do that, thank you so much, John. This has been wonderful. This is truly informative, and I hope that our patrons feel the same way. Not a vaccine related question. So I don't know if you can answer this or not, but can you compare the COVID numbers in Jackson with surrounding areas?
Well, yes. And we are located in Region 7 in terms of the state, which also includes Ingham County, Hillsdale County, Lenawee County, I believe, Calhoun. Yeah, somewhere along the lines, and Ionia County. We are in this region. We've all seen the same peak, the same epi curve rise up and peak out, right around Thanksgiving, just after Thanksgiving. And since we've seen that peak come down. Now, this recent surge in cases dwarfs what occurred back in the spring of 2020. The initial peak was more like this. Things were restricted. We went into some economic business lockdown. Schools went remote. We went remote. Everything along those lines. It was, the peak came back down. We got back to a very low level. We had another little peak in the late summer, August range, which was a little bit higher than the spring peak. But that came back down too because we put some restrictions, in place. And then the holidays and the late fall came and then peak just took off. We are talking in Jackson County that we were at the peak, we were running 1 to 200 cases per day compared to the 10 to 25 cases per day in the spring. Okay. We have now come back down to the 10 to 25 cases per day range, which is still too high. Okay, but that peak went up and the restrictions were put on and it's come way down and the restrictions are slowly being lifted. Most of them have been lifted at this point. For instance, restaurants can now be open for indoor dining at 25% capacity. But they do work, and that's one of the key things. All of our surrounding counties, as well as the rest of the state, basically have seen the same pattern. In some of the very earlier this summer and last spring, some of our very least dense portions of the state saw very little activity concerned to COVID. Okay, well, that wasn't the case in this last surge, and in fact the UP was probably the worst. And you think about the UP, that's not a very densely populated area of the state. So it was pretty much statewide as well as nationwide. Same patterns exhibited across the board at various levels, depending upon their actual populations.
Awesome. This has been so wonderful. Thank you so much, Don. We appreciate it very much.